Hey, what's up everybody? This is Osterberg501 and today I want to go over the lowest recoil build for the HK416 in patch 12.9 of Escape from Tarkov. Like with all my builds, there will be a link in the description to this build on the Tarkov Gunsmith website, so you guys can easily check that for all of the different parts in this build and see updated flea market prices for all of them. And just like with a lot of the other guns, especially a lot of the other meta guns in the game, there have been some pretty big changes, especially to the amount of ergonomics you're going to have with having the lowest recoil. But the HK is still an extremely strong weapon. It's still one of the overall strongest weapons in the game. So the first part is the sights. And since none of the sights reduce recoil anymore, the only things you're going to choose between when determining what sight you want is what range you're going to be using these sights for, what sight you like, how much the sight is going to affect the ergo of the weapon. Then we have the rear sight. Now with this specific build, you can't put a front sight on, so just use whatever rear sight gives an additional ergo. I'm using the Magpul M-Bus Gen 2. And then for the foregrip, we're going to be using the Strike Industries Crux 15-inch M-Lock foregrip. Next, we're going to be using the Avalanche Mod 2 charging handle for AR-15. Now just use whatever charging handle gives the most ergo. There's a few of the charging handles that will give 3 additional ergo on top of the base charging handle. So just choose whichever one of those you want and whichever one is the cheapest right now. Then we're going to be using the 20-inch barrel, which is pretty long. So that's definitely one thing you have to be careful with this weapon and going some of the lowest recoil builds for some of these assault rifles is that they're going to be really long, especially when you're using these longer barrels. So you got to be careful when going indoors or going around tight corners. Now for the stock, we're going to be using the HK Enhanced Tube Buffer Tube. And on top of that, we're going to have the Magpul PRS Gen 3, which is the best stock for recoil reduction. This stock is not very good overall for ergo. So if you're going a more balanced build, I would definitely recommend choosing something else. Even something like the HK1, which used to be the best stock for pretty much everything. Now for the mag, you can use whatever size you want. Now with a fully kitted weapon like this, I would always use the Magpul P-Mag, the round ones. These aren't going to reduce the ergo as much as the thick silver Mag 5s, but also be careful because even with just the round P-Mags, it still drops your ergo by a ton, but I would say that's still worth most of the time to get these 60 rounders instead of the 30 rounders. Next, we're going to be using the HK Ergo PSG1 for the pistol grip. Like with any weapon this thing can go on, it's absolutely the best pistol grip, gives a ton of ergo. For the upper receiver, you don't have any options, so you're just using what comes on it. Then for the grip, we're using the Magpul M-Lock 4.1 inch guide, and I currently have the RK1 on this, and I would almost always recommend using the RK1 or the Fortis Shift Tactical Grip because neither of these grips increase the recoil by a ton, but they do increase your ergonomics by quite a bit. Now the best grip if you're just going for recoil reduction is going to be the RK2, which will be on the Tarkov Gunsmith build in the link in the description, but for whatever reason the RK2 is not showing for me in the presets right now. There seemed to have been a bug with my account being reset and needing to reinspect everything, but I would still recommend usually using the RK1. And then next up for the tactical device, I'm going to be using the Magpul M-Lock 2.5 inch guide. You can put the tactical device on whichever side of the weapon you want, and I'm using the D-Ball tactical flashlight. Now you can use whatever tactical device you want, but I always recommend using an IR flashlight instead of a laser pointer because a laser pointer can easily be seen through walls, it still shines through doors, it can easily be seen just in midair when you're pointing a weapon in a direction, so it will get you killed a lot. So I always recommend that IR flashlight so you can still get the hip fire accuracy increase without having the increase to being seen and just being killed because everyone knows where you are. Now there are no options for the gas blocks, you're just using what come on it. One of the biggest changes to a lot of the weapons in the game were the changes to how silencers work and what stats they give. So now on most weapons, silencers are going to be the lowest recoil you can get, but silencers massively reduce the ergonomics of weapons that you put them on. So the lowest recoil is going to be the AAC Blackout 51T flash hider, and on top of that you're going to be using the AAC 762 SDN6 this sound suppressor, and that's going to be the lowest recoil you can get for the flash hider and suppressor on the weapon. Now, this also massively reduces the ergonomics of the weapon, but it does give you a silencer, so there's some give and take there. If you feel like the ergo is fine for you using it, I would still recommend using a suppressor. A suppressor in the game just in general is a good buff in combat because people have a much harder time of finding where you are, and it does give the lowest recoil. Now, if you don't want a suppressor and you want much higher ergo, the best just flash hider is going to be the Bulletech ST60112. And as you'll see, putting this thing on from going from the blackout and the suppressor gives an additional plus 20 ergo. Now, it does add plus 12 vertical recoil on it, but I would still say 47 vertical recoil is still controllable, and it also gives you a massive amount of ergonomics. It shortens a weapon by quite a bit, so it's going to be a bit easier to use. You're not going to be getting stuck on doors when you're going through. You're not going to be having the gun butt up against you when you're going around tight corners and stuff like that. That's pretty much the best two options, is either going with that suppressor we went over or going with the Bulletech flash hider. So that is the lowest recoil build for the HK416 in patch 12.9 of Escape from Tarkov. Now, like I said, there will be a link in the description to the Tarkov Gunsmith website with this build on there, so you can easily see all the parts you need and get updated prices for all these parts on the flea market. So subscribe if you want to see more Escape from Tarkov videos. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you guys think about the new lowest recoil HK build, and thanks for watching.
Чужая граната! Вижу врага! Enemy frag!
Ну что, неплохой день, господа.
Ты куда? Вон он! Вон, вижу! Граната с стороны! Вон он, сука! Вон он, сука!